You already know what you keep doing. You know what it is costing you. You have known for longer than you will admit. Not because you are weak, not because you lack discipline. You have discipline. It does not reach this. Schopenhauer spent 40 years studying the mechanism underneath all of it, and what he found does not let anyone off the hook, including you. This video will name the force, not the habit, not the person, the force underneath both. By the end, you will not be able to call it weakness anymore. Arthur Schopenhauer was born in Hamburg in 1788. He became the most precise diagnostician of human suffering who ever lived, not because he studied other people, because he could not escape what he was describing. His central argument was this: beneath everything a human being does, every choice, every desire, every act of apparent will, there is a force he named simply the will, not willpower, not intention, not the conscious mind deciding. The will is something older. It predates thought. It does not negotiate. It simply wants. And what it wants, it cannot stop wanting. Not when it gets what it sought. Not when the wanting causes damage. Not when the person carrying it would give anything to make it stop. The will has one operating principle. Intensity equals importance. The more something costs, in time, in pain, in return, the more the will encodes it as essential. This is not irrational. This is the will working exactly as built. Schopenhauer spent decades asking one question: why do intelligent people, people who can see clearly what is destroying them, return to it anyway? His answer was not comforting. Reason is not what drives the will. Reason is what observes the will after it has already moved, which means the part of you that knows has never been in charge. In the 1890s, the French neurologist Pierre Janet documented a series of patients he described as suffering from idées fixes, fixed ideas that persisted long after the circumstances that created them had passed. His patients were not irrational people. They were teachers, lawyers, mothers, people with complete social functioning. What they shared, each was oriented towards something that had caused them measurable, documented harm, and each described the same internal experience when questioned. It felt necessary, not pleasant, not desired in any simple sense. Necessary, as if the absence of the harmful thing was more threatening than the harm itself. If I stop, what does that say about everything I gave to it? Janet did not have Schopenhauer's vocabulary, but he arrived at the same structural observation. The pull is not toward pleasure. The pull is toward meaning, and meaning for the human nervous system is built through investment and return. The more you've given to something, the more the will encodes it as non-negotiable. The cost is not a warning. The cost is the mechanism. In 2001, researchers published findings from a longitudinal study of harmful intimate relationships. The question was simple: does awareness of harm predict leaving? The answer was no. Full, clear, unambiguous awareness of the harm was not correlated with departure. What predicted staying was this: the length of time already invested. The more a person had given, years, identity, financial entanglement, emotional exposure, the more powerful the will's hold on that relationship as something that could not simply stop. Subjects described a specific experience. They did not feel they were choosing to stay. They felt that leaving required a version of themselves that did not yet exist. I know it is bad, I know, but I don't know who I am without it. Schopenhauer anticipated this in 1818. He did not call it psychology. He called it the will refusing to release what it has encoded as essential. Knowing better has never been the mechanism that changes it. There is a word for what Schopenhauer was doing. There is a word for what you are doing too. It is not weakness. It is not a failure of will. It is the will itself, operating on the thing it has decided matters most. And now we turn to where it is operating in you. You already know what it is. You have known since before this video started. There is something in your life, a relationship, a pattern, a habit, a person, a situation, that you return to with full knowledge of what returning costs. You have tried to stop, perhaps many times. You may have stopped for a period, and then the will moved. It wasn't even a decision. I just found myself there again. This is not metaphor. This is the structure Schopenhauer described with clinical precision. The will does not ask permission. It does not negotiate with the part of you that can observe it. It operates below that, in the older parts, in the parts that learned, long before you had language, that intensity means importance. Here is what you have been trying not to look at directly. The cost is not incidental. The cost is structural. It is not that the thing you crave happens to be harmful. It is that the harm is part of why the will encoded it as essential. The intensity of the wanting, the ache of it, the way it surfaces underneath everything unrelated, that intensity is generated by what it takes from you, which means there is no version of this where you choose differently and the wanting simply stops. The wanting does not live where choice lives. But I should be able to decide. People do it. Why can't I just decide? Because the will is not interested in what you decide. It is interested in what you have attached yourself to. An attachment at this depth is not built through pleasure. It is built through return. Every time you went back, you did not repeat the pattern. You reinforced the will's encoding of that thing as non-negotiable. You made it more true. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are operating exactly as the mechanism was built. But the mechanism does not care about you. It cares about continuation. It cares about returning to what it has already decided matters. Understanding it does not release you from it. Schopenhauer did not end on despair. He ended on something stranger. He called it aesthetic contemplation, the one state in which the will momentarily suspends itself. Not through therapy, not through discipline, not through becoming a different person, through witnessing something larger than itself. Music, art, a philosophical insight that names what you have been living without the vocabulary to describe it. In that moment, he argued, the will goes quiet, not because it is defeated, because it recognizes itself in something outside itself, and recognition, for the will, is the closest thing to rest it ever reaches. This is what he believed about human suffering. Not that it is avoidable, not that it is correctable, but that it is, occasionally, comprehensible. And comprehension changes the relationship between you and the thing you cannot stop, not by removing it, by making it legible. Schopenhauer knew this. He wrote about it every day. And every day, he wrote a letter to a woman who had told him he should not exist. Understanding the mechanism does not release you from it, but it means you are watching it move, rather than simply being moved. That is the only thing Schopenhauer believed was available to a person. Not escape, not healing, witnessing. There is a second mechanism. The will does not only pull you toward what destroys you, it tells you, once you are inside it, to stay. Not because staying is right, because leaving requires a pain that is unfamiliar, and the unfamiliar is more threatening than the familiar damage. Schopenhauer had a name for it, the horror of the empty space where the harmful thing used to be. The next question is not why you keep returning. The next question is what you are actually afraid you will lose.